Hello, everyone, and this is a cartoon discussion on cartoon reboots and revivals. And this is probably my most topical video yet, since Cartoon Network is doing like revival shows, like revivals of Adventure Time, Regular Show, Pop Up Girls, and Gumball and stuff. And I was gonna talk about reboots first, since it's usually, but I'm not gonna talk about it too long because it's a topic that's been done to death on YouTube. To be honest, everyone hating on reboots. But I never actually got my personal opinion on these type of reboots and cartoons. For example, Teen Titans Go tends to be like the biggest in terms of how just hated the show is. To be honest, back then, when Teen Titans Go came on Cartoon Network back then, as a person who really loved the original Teen Titans, I didn't really think of that. I didn't really hate Teen Titans Go that as much as most of the edgelords will allow you to. Like, most of the edgelords on YouTube usually did. I didn't hate it as much as other cartoons, or at least I didn't hate it at all. The show was just not my cup of tea. Specifically for the fact that the Titans barely fight crime in Teen Titans Go. That's kind of the only problem I have with it, to be honest. Because the comedies could work in super. We always had comedies in superhero cartoons. Don't let the edgelord cartoon reviewers tell you otherwise. We had superhero parodies and comedy cartoons for years. Look at shows like Cartoon Planet and the Justice Friends and Battle M for Monkey. You always had superhero comedies and parodies all the time. Even the original Powerpuff Girls counts as like a superhero parody comedy show because it tends to be funny as well. So this idea that Teen Titans Go ruined the industry specifically because it's not as serious as the original Teen Titans is kind of ridiculous. And plus, it's getting kind of old too. The hatred for Teen Titans Go, to be honest, it's getting really old. I mean, as a show in itself, I like it. I like it now. I like it more than I liked it back then. Simply because the show got sillier and sillier as I kind of like that kind of silly like humor and stuff. Especially that silly like these characters are jerks kind of humor. I kind of love that. Not when it's like my two partners a monkey kind of jerks, where their characters are jerks, but it's not funny. I kind of like it because the show's actually kind of funny in certain cases, believe it or not. Also, what I like about Teen Titans Go is that as the years came by, they pretty much accepted the criticism that the show was pretty much getting at least in the movie they did. The Titans are not taken seriously and stuff. They at least addressed that kind of criticism that the show is not as serious as most superhero cartoons. At least something like Young Justice or something. They at least addressed that criticism. I guess more the bad episodes of Teen Titans Go that people remember that didn't like that find insulting was the cartoon dumping on the original. And this is most likely a response to this for the writers themselves because this is most likely their first cartoon that they wrote for. And they did since the episodes were just pumping out just constantly. They didn't have time to like think of. I guess the writers didn't have time to think of which episodes they're criticizing. They were criticizing for. Yeah, because the episodes just come out just nonstop, especially the marathons. They were too much. Even if I like Teen Titans Go as much as the next guy, I probably wouldn't want to watch marathons of it, to be honest. Thundercats War. This is another reboot, like at least in terms of cartoon reboots and stuff. And this show, but the Thundercats War was really hated when it came out, like in 2018. I think most of the hatred and angst for this show probably came with the fact that it was pretty much replacing the 2011 Thundercats. Instead of the Thunder that had that anime X art style, and instead of that we got this cartoon. I mean, but the reason why I don't like Thundercats War is not because of the silly, goofy humor, the childish, silly, goofy humor that the shows usually that Teen Titans Go had, or this show pretty much had. It's not the reason why I don't like Thundercats War, because we had that in cartoons for years. Don't let the edgelords tell you otherwise. The problem I have with Thundercats War is the fact that it's not aesthetically pleasing to watch and look at. Especially when it's animated. If you take like a freeze frame of a scene in Thundercats War, it looks like off-putting, weird looking. That can turn off any audience pretty much. Even if Thundercats War was given a chance, I don't think it would have been as popular as Titans Go anyway. Especially since Pop Up Girls 2016 kind of did the exact same thing, but the trying to have the Pop Up Girls be more expressive, even though they kind of didn't need to. It's kind of like that, but instead of like one-off gags, it's like the whole show. Imagine like Bubbles No Me Gusta rage comic. The imagine like that No Me Gusta face that Bubbles made. You know, like that meme face that Bubbles made. Imagine that, but the entire show. Yeah, every scene in the show, pretty much. That's what Thundercats War felt like. And don't get me wrong. I don't. It's not the Call Arts art style because that's clearly not Call Arts. Obviously, I mostly call it as an artist myself. I don't think that's the style of the show. I think people are. I think the higher ups at Cartoon Network are purposely telling people to draw the beam mouth art style to match well with other cartoons to make sure it's actually from Cartoon Network. I don't think this is. I don't think this is. I guess what's his name again? Victor Cartwright, I think his name. I don't think that's is technically his art style. I think he's purposely being told to draw like this to like represent more of the Cartoon Network brand because that was most of the cartoons at the time. It's not so much like I call it more the bean mouth art style more than the Call Arts art style because it's clearly not Call Arts. Because I've seen Call Arts art styles all the time, like on sites like Newgrounds and DeviantArt and stuff, and they're nothing like we usually see in Thundercats War. Especially since I'm an artist myself, I draw and make cartoons myself. Obviously, Thundercats War blows my cartoons out of the water. Obviously, because it actually has a team and budget behind it. But I still don't like Thundercats War. Especially, I mean, you can tell it's unaesthetically pleasing by this scene right here, with the sword being like tiny and Lionel's like weird face he's making. I guess the other reason why people hate the show because they thought it was Titans Go again, that the kids are gonna love Thundercats War and they're gonna overplay the crap out of it on the schedule nonstop, just like the Titans Go. That's what people were fearing at least when Thundercats War came out. Especially since other shows pretty much kind of did the exact same thing, like Pop Up Girls 2016 and Total Drama and Ben 10 technically were trying to copy the success of Titans Go, but not as successful. Yeah. At least Titans Go looks aesthetically pleasing for what it is. I mean, the chibi art style could work because it's like popular in Japan and places like that. That's usually where it originated from. The chibi art style is kind of cute for what it is. I do like it for what it is and stuff. It's not really. I wouldn't exactly criticize the chibi art style and say that it's garbage, because there is a market for chibi art styles. Just look at Tamagotchis, for example. I know I'm rambling on a little bit, but let's go to the next cartoon, at least in terms of revivals, because I wasn't going to go into too much into reboots. And now I'll be talking about revivals shows, at least revivals. And Steven Universe tends to be the most topical one that people want the revival of, since like regular show, Adventure Time, Gumball, all getting revival shows. People want Steven Universe to get revived too. And to be honest, I don't really understand any of it. At least for any other revivals that we're getting from Cartoon Network. And because shows like Adventure Time, regular show, Gumball, Steven Universe, all these shows had at least 5 seasons, 5 to like 6, 7 seasons. With movies and spin-off shows as well. Yeah, especially since regular show, which I'm going to talk about later in its ending and stuff. And I don't think I ever gotten my full opinion on Steven Universe as a whole. To be honest, I really like Steven Universe. I won't say I love Steven Universe because that's kind of weird, but I do really like Steven Universe. Even though I don't necessarily agree with the messages, there are messages like in certain scenes, but I still liked it for what it was. It's just like a city cartoon about like a boy trying to find himself in the world, like this world is alien powers and stuff. That's pretty kind of cool and stuff, especially with the fusions and stuff. That were pretty cool. And plus, Paradox is like my favorite character ever. She's like the funniest story I ever heard of. Apparently, Rebecca Sugar binge watched Vader Zim when she was a kid. She was like addicted to Vader Zim. She came up with Paradox. And so since Vader Zim was like my favorite cartoon, I pretty much love that. Paradox like my favorite character ever. Vader Zim character in Steven Universe is pretty funny. There are things I like about Steven Universe, honestly. I'm not gonna be like the grifters who complain about Steven Universe constantly. They constantly like criticize it and put it in their thumbnails to criticize the show and altogether, making clickbaity range bait videos all the time. I guess the reason why they criticize them is not so much the show in itself and its messages, but the fan base surrounding the show. You know, the round tables of the world. Yeah. I guess the show pretty much about the idea of like the cartoon stand. People like obsessive, like they're so obsessive for cartoon stuff. It's kind of creepy that way. That's probably most of the criticism of Steven Universe usually comes from. It's not so much the show in itself, but the fan base surrounding the show and what it appeals to. I don't know why it appeals to people mostly. I don't know why the Steven Universe fan base is the worst fan base of all time compared to something like Sonic, which like little criminals came out of that fan base of Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, I'm not defending the Steven Universe fans, obviously. I mean, they can be a bit like obsessive over a cartoon stuff. Especially, they also can be kind of annoying, like the roundtable, making like clickbaity hacky videos all the time. There are people that make hacky videos praising Steven Universe, and there are people who are like the grifters who make hacky videos criticizing the show. Like it's a Tumblr cartoon. Cal Arts is a Tumblr cartoon. It's never like appealing to kids because it never sold toys and all that. Yeah, the grifter types of like cartoon viewers that constantly put like an image of Steven like panicking and stuff in their like being sad in their thumbnails to convey their criticism of the industry as a whole and stuff. That type of hacky video. Another criticism I usually people who hate Steven Universe is the fact that it's a gay cartoon. It's LGBT friendly. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, to be honest, to me, because since we had LGBT and gay content for years, at least. To be honest, if we're up to me, I want to allow any LGBT content because it's a sexuality based community and that stuff's not appropriate for kids. To be honest, I mean, but if you're gonna have LGBT content in your show anyway, just to convey the message, at least keep it subtle, like a simple kiss, or don't hint at the characters were having sex, because that's not appropriate and stuff. And speaking of sex, Fusion the show often gets criticized from like promoting sex with the Fusions and stuff, which is kind of not true, since gems didn't necessarily have the dance prerogative like they did in order to fuse. They kind of didn't have to, and plus the gems are technically adults, so yeah, like adult jokes and content for years, to be honest. Especially since Steven Universe tends to be appeal to more older crowds, then it can be just as edgy as regular shows sometimes. That's most kids' cartoons in general, even back then. And I'm gonna talk about the regular show revival now. The regular show revival. I honestly don't understand this one revival either, since the regular show ended perfectly. At least what I saw. The spoilers from the final season. I didn't watch much of the final season of the regular show, but I did. I did watch like the final scene that was uploaded to YouTube of the final scene, and it pretty much ended perfectly. I don't think it technically needs a revival, or if they want to have a revival, at least focus on the other characters at least. Because characters like Muscle Man, Mordecai, Ruby, they all have families now, so they probably are busy doing other jobs and taking care of their families and stuff. I think just to focus on the other characters that they shown in the revivals, the characters that they showed, the new employees at the park. That's what I meant. The new employees at the park, the revival of them, supposedly. That would be kind of cool. And Regular Show is kind of like my favorite cartoon. I mean, it's kind of a close second to Courage Cowardly Dog in Teen Titans. Because Courage Cowardly Dog, Teen Titans are my two favorite cartoons ever. The original Teen Titans and the Courage Cowardly Dog are like my favorite cartoons ever. Because I watched it a lot as a kid. And plus in reruns all the time and stuff. So yeah, Regular Show was like kind of like a close second because, especially during my edgelord teenage years, I was just watch any cartoon, even like adult cartoons. I'll watch. Yeah, and that's Regular Show. the original Teen Titans revival. I mean, there were hinted that that Teen Titans was gonna come back. During the Teen Titans Go movie, they hinted at the show coming back at least, but they haven't really hinted at the show actually making a comeback at least next year, 2025 at least. And even though Teen Titans is my one of my favorite cartoons, the original Teen Titans was one of my favorite cartoons ever. Because personally, for me, since I grew up a lot on it as a kid, I mean, I still don't understand why it needs a revival either. Because the show had its perfect, the show had a good run for what it was. Like 5 seasons is pretty decent for any cartoon, to be honest. A show like Courage Call Your Dog didn't really last that long either. You only had 3 seasons. And to be honest, a cartoon that's 3 or 4 seasons is pretty much a perfect run for a cartoon. 4 seasons in a movie. That's it. Not a cartoon that this. You don't want the cartoon to be too short, and you don't want the cartoon to go on forever like The Simpsons and stuff. Like a zombie that just goes on forever and ever. I think a cartoon should be going. I honestly think a cartoon should go as long as people keep demanding the show to stay alive and stuff. Kind of like, I mean, that kind of just backtracks what I say about the revivals, the Adventure Time regular show, and the rivals of the 2010 cartoons. It kind of backtracks that statement, but we don't know if those show revivals are going to be good anyway. To be honest, that's probably why I disagree with the revivals of those anyway. As for Teen Titans as a show on itself, it's the usual superhero cartoon, but with the anime inspired art style, the anime humor and stuff. Especially since for the time it was like a perfect cartoon. At least for the time it was. Especially since like Toonami was still active during the time that Teen Titans came out. The anime style cartoons and the anime in general were really picking up on Toonami during like the early to mid 2000s and stuff. It can be counted out it's probably the perfect cartoon in terms of when it came out, mostly. But in terms of quality, yeah, it's a very good cartoon and stuff. Okay, I'm going to talk about something else now. And now I'm going to talk about cartoons that actually need revivals. The short-lived cartoons, Why aren't people demanding revivals of cartoons that were short-lived, but they still have a fan base in them? The Meow Meows, the Sinbad Titans, the Thundercats 2011, the Young Justices, the Samurai Jacks. Cartoons that were relatively short-lived, and they actually do deserve revivals. Samurai Jack already got a revival, obviously, and that was kind of good. But Symbiotic Titan, Meow Meow, and Young Justice, and Thundercats 2011 actually do deserve revivals and stuff because they're relatively short-lived, and people still love these cartoons to this day and stuff. I don't know why people aren't demanding revivals of these shows. Also, they need to revive Ben 10 Omniverse too. I mean, we do not need a 6th iteration of Ben 10 because they're probably not going to introduce anything new. To be honest, what they're going to introduce that's going to be new that we haven't seen for in Ben 10, and might as well just bring back Ben 10 Omniverse and continue the show with new aliens and characters that way. And they want to continue Ben 10. Let's bring back Ben 10 Omniverse. Especially since Ben 10 Omniverse is supposed to be the final version of Ben 10. It's called Ben 10 Omniverse. It's both the young and teenage Ben 10, along with Ben 10 10,000 as well. They all it's multiversal in terms of like the Ben 10s and stuff. I don't know why they didn't just continue with that instead of rebooting it completely. They should have just kept on doing Ben 10 Omniverse. Yeah. Especially since you kind of killed off action cartoons altogether. I kind of don't like that. To be honest, I don't know why Christina Miller decided. I mean, the problem with Christina Miller is that she converted Cartoon Network to a brand that was for kids and kids only, even though that was never the case. Cartoon Network was a brand that appealed to everyone, regardless of what your age is. And there's no more evident in that with the early 2010s Cartoon Network. That's what made the early 2010s Cartoon Network so good, is that they had shows of that appeal to anyone, especially since Cartoon Network kind of didn't need to be a kids only brand, specifically for the fact that it's been around for 20 years. Most kids probably don't even know what Cartoon Network is nowadays. It's best to appeal to everyone, as much as the audience possibly can and stuff. I guess you said the early 2010s was them basically acknowledging that the Cartoon Network fans in general were growing up and stuff, and he had to appeal to them as well. Yeah, I'm kind of going on tangents. I'm kind of go all over the place on tangents again because kind of get stuff off of my chest and stuff. As for Meow Meow as a show, I really do love Meow Meow as a cartoon, especially since like Meow Meow himself, Badger Clops, or Doorbat, they're pretty funny duo and stuff. They also have that funny like characters could be jerks kind of humor, the lovable jerk character. I mean, Teen Titans Go technically has that too, but they don't expand on it as much as like Meow Meow did. I think the humor in Meow Meow, the humor that Teen Titans Go try to do, Meow Meow did better in terms of like goofy, wacky humor and characters being jerks and stuff. That's pretty funny. It can be pretty funny, but I believe Meow Meow did better than Teen Titans Go and stuff. Obviously, Meow Meow isn't as popular as Teen Titans Go. That's probably why it was short lived and stuff. It probably could have been. It was also expensive to make. Like Thundercats 2011 was clearly expensive to make and stuff. But those cartoons could technically come back. It's like Young Justice did and stuff. And yeah, that's been my lengthy video on rivals and reboots and stuff. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and that's it.